Okay, so the first concept is objects. Okay, so what we are going to do is in today's class, we are going to discuss about all these concepts in OOPS. Just the definitions we will discuss. Then in further classes, in depth, we will just discuss about all these OOPS concepts. Okay, so the first concept is objects. So what is mean by object? An object is an instance of a class, or an object is an instantiation of the class. Okay, in any way we can call. So this object, it is just the instance, it is the blueprint of the class. We can call like that. Okay. When class is defined, only the description for the object is defined. Okay, so remember, object is a single component, and using the object only we are going to access all the classes. Okay, so what is mean by class? So anyway, next slide I will just explain what is this class. Okay, so we are going to just define the classes just like function definition. Okay, but only the description will be given in the class. Okay, but those description belongs to the object. Okay, and no memory or storage is allocated until the object is created for a particular class. Okay, so after creating the object, then only the memory and storage will be allocated for the class. Okay, an object is used to allocate the memory. As I said, a class will be created within each and every class. As I said, the entire program is divided into small parts called objects, right? And object which we are just calling each and every classes. Okay, so with which it is having data and functions. Okay, whenever the data has been created, the data has been defined. Okay, the memory will not be allocated here. In all the example programs which we have seen previously, the memory will be allocated, right? Based on the data type, the memory will be allocated. But in this case, for class definition creation, the memory will not be allocated. But once the object has been created, the memory will be allocated here. Okay. An object instance contains real data or information. So your object, whenever it has been created, then the actual data will be provided. The object is an entity that has state and behavior. Then object is a collection of both data and functions that operate on the data. Okay, so object is the collection of data and functions. Then each object has its own set of data members and member functions. So within each and every class, whatever data we are going to have, we will call them as data members of the particular class. Similarly, whatever member functions we are going to have, okay, so they are the member functions which belongs to a particular class. Hence, each and every class can be executed by creating the object. We are calling that each object has its own set of data members and member functions. Okay, now we'll just see what is the syntax for object creation in Python. Okay, so name of the object, it may be anything. Okay, so anything the user, whatever name the user is giving, just like the identifier. Okay, you can create anything here as the object name, which is equals to class name, right? So using class name, we are just creating the object for the corresponding class. So in the previous example, we have seen object A, object B and object C, right? So there object A is equal to A. Okay, capital A. Let us assume that A is the class name. Okay. Let me just show you one example here. So the object name is OBJ. Okay, I have created the object name as OBJ, which is equals to the class name is student. Okay, so this is how the object will be created, such that whenever you want to access any data or member functions of the class student, you can access it through the object name. Okay. Okay, so now we'll just discuss what is meant by class. Okay, a class is a blueprint for an object. Okay, it is just like a copy. Okay, a class is a blueprint for the object, and each and every module which belongs to a particular object, they are the classes. Okay, so first we will be creating the class and we will define the class. Okay, within each and every class, it will have a number of data members and member functions. Then for each and every data member and member function of your particular class, to access all those components, we will be creating the corresponding object for it. Okay, so that is the reason why we are saying that a class is a blueprint for the object. Classes are used to create user defined data structures. Okay, because inside each and every class, as per the user's requirement, he can create any number of class data variables. Okay, and any number of member functions. Okay, and your variables may be of any type. Okay, any type of variables. It may be having an array or list. It may be anything. Okay, so hence we are saying this is used to create user defined data structures. Okay, and I hope already we have studied the data structures concept also, right? So like list and stack, queue, all those things. Okay, so with any of this type, the variable can be declared. And a class is thus a collection of objects. Okay, so a class is a collection of objects. So variables in the class are called member variables and functions are called member functions. Okay, so because we know that within each and every class we will be having the variables and functions. So those variables are called as member variables and the functions are called as member functions of the particular class. Okay, we are just calling them as class members. Just how we used to say the family members, right? So whoever persons who belongs to our family, they are our family members, right? So they are not outsiders. In the same way, for each and every class, whatever variables and functions it has, they are the members of the particular class. Okay, and we will be calling them as member variables and member functions. Okay, then a class is created with the keyword class. Okay, so in programming, we will be using the keyword class with which we will be creating the classes. Okay, now we'll just see what is the syntax for class creation. So as we discussed, this will begin with the keyword class. We will be having the class keyword, then class name. Okay, the keyword class and then this class name. This may be anything which may be given by the user. Okay, so the user has to give the class name. It may be anything like student, employee, marks, anything you can give as a class name. This is user defined. Okay, but it should begin with the keyword class. And the header part of your class should be terminated by colon. Okay, just remember the header part of your class definition should be terminated by the colon. Then we have class body. Okay, so here all the lines whatever we are going to write starting from the member variable declaration, member function definition, right, member function declaration, everything will comes under this class body. Okay, we define a class with a keyword class following the class name and it should be terminated by semicolon. Okay, so this is the syntax for creating the class. Okay, so this class, it is the blueprint for the object. It is just like the object resemblance, okay, reflection of the object. And your class consists of the user defined data structures because the variables and the functions, whatever we are going to define, it may follow any type of data structure. Okay, and your class is a collection of objects, right? Because it may have any number of member variables and member functions, right? And your class will start with a keyword class in programming. Okay, and the syntax for class. Okay, now we'll just discuss about data abstraction and encapsulation. First, let me explain what is meant by data abstraction. So, abstraction is used to hide internal details and show only the necessary functionalities. Okay, so which we are calling them as abstract. Okay, it will just show you the essential thing without showing the background details. It shows only the necessary information without showing the background details, right? Like this data abstraction, it is similar like black box testing we used to call. Okay, because the input will be given to it, it will just produce the output, but we don't know how the execution occurs within it. Okay, in the same way, whenever we are going to create any particular class, okay, so within the class we may be having any number of data members and member functions. Okay, so the objects will be accessed by passing some values to the class. Okay, such that it will just return back the actual execution which is present within it. Okay, but we don't know what are all the data members and member functions which is present within it. Okay, so it will hide all the background details, it will show only the necessary information. Okay, so and then we are calling them as data abstraction. Then the second one is data encapsulation. Okay, encapsulation, the meaning is we are going to combine, we are going to club certain things together. Okay, the wrapping up of data and methods into a single unit is called as data encapsulation. Because we have discussed like your objects or your class, it is the combination of data and methods, right? So methods, in other words, we can call them as functions. Okay, so the data and functions together will form a particular class, right? So hence a class can be accessed through the objects, right? So how we are going to combine the data and methods and how we are forming them as one particular module. Okay, that particular thing we are just calling them as data encapsulation. The wrapping up of data and methods into a single unit is called as data encapsulation. Okay, encapsulation is used to restrict access to methods and variables. Okay, so this encapsulation concept, okay, which is more important because this will restrict the methods and variables to be accessed from outside world. Okay, only the object which we have created for a particular class can only access the methods and variables. Okay, any other function which is present in the same program cannot access this particular methods and variables which is present in some other function. Okay, so even though among the functions the variables the values can be transferred, but again for that we have certain rules. Okay, if I don't want a particular class to be disturbed, okay, then I can create the class with some other access specifier such that it cannot be accessed from the other function. Okay, anyway, we are going to discuss all these topics in depth. Okay, so with the example programs we are going to discuss. So at that time it will be very easy for you to understand. Okay, no worries now. Now just I'm just giving the definitions and basic introduction. Okay. So encapsulation bundles variables and methods to form a class. And encapsulation is a means of bundling together instance variables and methods to form a given type of class. Okay, so completely your encapsulation talks about how the data and methods we are going to bundle together. Okay, so how we are going to combine the data and methods, right? So how we are encapsulating them. So that particular thing we are calling as data encapsulation. The selected members of a class can be made inaccessible from its clients. So as I told, few data we can just hide, okay, without showing it to the outside world. We can just hide certain members, right? So the members may be a data member or it may be a member function. So it can be hidden. Okay, so this particular hiding is referred to as information hiding. Okay, so why we are hiding certain data information is, see, there may be a chance for doing some modification from the outsiders. Okay, so hence the data will be hidden here. And information hiding is a form of abstraction. So this information hiding, it is a form of abstraction, and this abstraction can be possible only if we have data encapsulation. Okay, because data encapsulation is combining the data and methods together as a single unit. Okay, likewise the entire program has been divided into so many parts. In each and every part we will be having certain number of data and functions combined together, bundled together. Okay, and this data and function which we are bundling, we are making them to come under a particular class. Okay, so that is why we are having the class concept. And this data and functions can be accessed through the objects which is created for a particular class. So hence we have the object class, right? And then how we are going to hide a certain information from other functions. Okay, hence we are calling that concept as data abstraction. Okay, and we have merged certain variables and functions together as a single class, right? So that bundling concept we are calling as data encapsulation, right? Okay, so this information hiding is important definition. Okay, so selected members of a class can be made inaccessible from its clients, referred to as information hiding. So this information hiding is a form of abstraction.